Black lightning strikes the center of Egghead Island. Where is this strong hockey coming from? Now, with 7 minutes left in the countdown for Vegapunk's whistleblowing, Saturn makes it audible to call in the rest of his boys. This chapter we got Mission Impossible, starring Saint Saturn as the Gyuki, Saint Marcus Mars as the Itsumaid, Saint Topman Warkari as the Hoki, Saint Ethan Baron Venus Shuro as the Bakatsu, and Saint Jupiter as the Sandworm. Venus Shuro takes off to even the Marines' odds by dismantling the pacifistas with his black blade. One by one, the pacifistas go down with his swift sword strikes, reminiscent of Brook's underworld freeze. Mars then flies up towards the frontier barrier, trying to take it out, but he is unsuccessful in taking out the barrier and getting to the message in time. In an effort to help the crew, Sanji warns everybody at the labo phase to get out as soon as they can because they're under attack. On the other side of the barrier where Mars is attacking, Usopp's bamboo ends up stopping the Thousand Sunning from moving. Now the crew can manage to escape and leave the labo phase. Meanwhile, the other Gorosei stay back while Venus Shuro and Mars are making moves. They decide to stay there and twiddle their thumbs and do absolutely nothing. Zoro concludes his fight with Lucci by dodging his finger pistol and then unleashes a new 3-sword style move on Lucci called Spotted Leopard Ha-Havas Hunt. That ends Lucci in one hit. Now it's Jinbei's job to get Zoro back. As Luffy continues bouncing, Sandworm Jupiter digs into the ground and decides to pop up and swallow Luffy. But at the very end of the chapter, Dory and Brogy come up and slice the head off of the sandworm that is Jupiter, and Luffy comes out of his mouth. We have the end of the chapter, chapter 11, 1110, Planet Fall. No break next week. What's up, everybody? My name is Slim, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I have a review of chapter 1110, Planet Fall, and this is going to be my first review in a while, so I'm going to go ahead and go over how I want to do the layout for this. I'm going to be going over the setting of the chapter, as well as the pacing of the chapter, the characters, some of the best moments of the chapter, as well as some of the worst moments of the chapter, and then my overall thoughts of the chapter. So if you do like my video, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment what you think on any theories or anything. Any support and all support are very greatly appreciated, so thank you. Starting out with the setting of the chapter, we have a couple of areas this chapter goes to. Mostly it's an Egghead-centric chapter. Like most of the Egghead arc, it's been Egghead-centric. But this one, there's only one other area it goes to. It goes to the Marijois, the capital, the kingdom of Marijois, where the Gorosei were at. And it just shows you that they actually were summoned and they're not there anymore. Other than that, we go to the shore of Egghead Island, where the Marines are still battling the Giants at the moment. We go to the Fabio phase, where Luffy is fighting and where the Gorosei got summoned, as well as where Sanji is with Vegapunk. And then I think Zoro and Lucci are fighting in this area as well, but I'm not entirely sure. They could be on the Labo phase, but I'm not entirely sure on that one. And then we get the Labo phase, where Usopp and Lilith, Brook, and Nami are, and I think Robin's there as well. And then we also get that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the whole areas they're covering. I think some of the other giants were in a different area as well, moving to get somewhere else and get off the island, but that's pretty much all it was coming from. Some of the pacing of this chapter I thought was really good. I didn't really see any issues with the pacing. I thought overall it was pretty fast paced. They didn't add too many things that were unnecessary in the chapter. I thought it was pretty much everything we needed. Not too much exposition. It was very action packed, so I love that about this chapter. Yeah, all in all, good pacing for the chapter as well. There's a lot of characters being in this chapter. Some of them are minor, some of them are major. Most of Straw Hats are in this chapter except for Robin. I think she's still hurt and she might just be in the Thousand Sunny, but all the other ones were shown in the chapter. Most of them just didn't say anything. Sanji, Zoro, and Luffy were the main ones. Jinbei kind of did a little bit. Those were the main ones of the Straw Hat crew that did stuff. I'll start off with Zoro. Zoro unleashes the new move. Honestly, he was pretty impressive in the fight against Lucci. He dodged Lucci's finger pistols, and he also like twirled his sword in his hand and picked it up midair, and then he went into the three sword style. What is it? Spotted leopard Hahava hunt. And it seems like he was making fun of Lucci in this chapter because Lucci's move was called the spotted pistol, I believe, and then Zoro just changed his name to Spotted Leopard Hahava Hunt. So I'm pretty sure he was trolling him pretty bad, especially to be honest, Lucci deserved it after all the crap he was talking to Zoro. So that was pretty cool. Lucci, on the other hand, he was very disappointing. I mean, he sounded cool at first because he was a awakened Zoan user, but he pretty much did nothing. Same move arsenal as before. He keeps using finger pistols and not doing anything with it, and then he pretty much gets one-shotted by Zoro. So very underwhelming. He can take the L on this one. He is awakened, so I assume that after he gets defeated, he's somehow going to manage to get off the island and he's going to survive. But I do feel like he's going to lose. He should lose his title for CP0 after this because he didn't obey the orders and the world government had to come in. The Gorosei had to come in and try to help. And I mean, if they fail, which I feel like the Gorosei are going to fail, still, Lucci gets a lot of the blame for what happens. So he might be on the run from the government after this. Back onto the other Straw Hats. Sanji, he really helped. He's kind of like, to me, he's a pretty big leader of the Straw Hat crew. And when time gets rough, he's always there to kind of get them in the right motion, get them in the right, get them on the right footing. So he let everybody know what was going on and that they needed to get a move on, get in the ship and get out of there because some bad things were about to happen. Without him, they could have been just chilling there, not moving. But now that they know that it's a serious go time, they're starting to go. He also motivated Zoro to get the fight done by talking trash to him. And then Jinbei showed up and he's going to help Zoro get out and not get lost. So those were kind of the big ones. Luffy was in the chapter, but all he was really doing was bouncing and showing reactions. So there wasn't too much about him going on. And so next I'm gonna cover over the Gorosei members, and a couple of them didn't do anything really. So I'm not gonna cover them. But Venus, Juro, Jupiter, and Mars were the ones that did stuff. The rest of them just stood there and did absolutely nothing. Saturn, you need to stop just doing stuff and then just not doing stuff at all. And then, I mean, Warcury, I don't think he's going to do anything either. He's an old fart just like Saint Saturn. So they're probably just going to sit there and absolutely say nothing and just stare angrily at Luffy. So Venus Juro, to me, he was my second favorite form-wise. But in terms of fighting power, to me, he did the most. He thought very smart. He decided to make his decisions on the fly. It didn't look like anybody told him what to do. He just went straight to the pacifistas. It looked like he used observation hockey to actually see through the forest and see some of the pacifistas, and then he struck them down with one swoop. He used his I'm assuming it's underworld powers. He uses a freeze to freeze the pacifistas up and stop them from working. He didn't destroy the pacifistas, so they're still in use. If they manage to get the pacifistas back after Bonnie loses reins of control, which would only be by getting defeated, by dying, would be the only way she gets her reins taken away, and then the Gorosei get it back would be that way. But it's still cool to see that he's thinking about stuff. He also has a black blade, which pretty much means that he's got all hockey at this point. We already know he's got Conqueror's hockey. We didn't see anything else hockey wise, but I'm assuming he's pretty strong, and they're all strong in all categories. But he was the one that showed the most out of all the Gorosei. Mars made a move to get to the Frontier Dome and try to destroy it, but he was unsuccessful. So not too much impressive by him, not too impressed by him, but we'll see what he does in the next chapter. Jupiter, the sandworm, he at least tried to do something to Luffy by digging underneath the ground and swallowing him. However, he should have used Haki, like observation Haki, future sight, to know that Luffy, not Luffy necessarily. I feel like he would have known Luffy would have got out of there, so I don't know why he would have just swallowed him. But he should have used future sight or hardening on his body to protect himself from the cut of the giants. But he didn't do that. I think he's gonna regenerate, but still, to me, it's kind of a plot. A big issue to me is they keep using powerful people, but they're not using their Haki to the fullest. Very disappointed in that. Expecting more out of him. We'll see if he survived the injury, but still, use your Haki, please. Dory and Brogy were also pretty big MVPs of this chapter, and the rest of their crew. The rest of the crew, they started out still destroying a lot of the marine ships and then helping Frankie, Bonnie, and Atlas get out of there. So shout out to the Great Warrior Pirates. They also managed to cut the head off of Jupiter, and it looks like they're going to be fighting the Gorosei. I don't know if it's going to be if Oimo and Kashi are going to be there too. I assume they were following Dory and Brogy, but I'm not entirely sure. But I think they're going to be fighting alongside Luffy to destroy the Gorosei. And I'm excited to see if they have any more moves, if they use Haki, because it didn't look like they used any Haki against Jupiter, but still, the move looked cool. Child of the Song Sun move was pretty cool, and it looked like it was paying homage to the sun god Nika, as well as earthworm or sandworm, I think is what it's called. Those are on the earth, and they don't really like the sun. So that was kind of cool to see that they're using a sun move on something that doesn't like the sun, and also honoring Luffy's devil fruit, sun god. I also got to shout out Usopp for actually helping do something this arc, because he hasn't really done anything. So shout out to Usopp for stopping the ship from moving. Kizaru also noticeable. He was not here. Last chapter we saw he was just laying on the ship. So I guess he's still just laying on the ship. Don't know how seriously injured he is, but he's injured enough where he didn't get up in this chapter. Now on to my favorite moments of the chapter. Starting out with the forms of the Gorosei. Everybody's been waiting for it. The silhouette happened a while back, but we finally got the devil fruit. Maybe not devil fruit. It has not been confirmed, but we finally got the monster forms of the Gorosei. Let me go back. Let me scroll back up to pronounce the names again. We got the Gyuki, which is Saint Saturn, the bull Oni thing. We got the Itsumaid, which is the giant bird with like a human face, a monster face. And then we got the Hoki, which is just a four-horned boar. Very underwhelming for that one. I'm curious to see if it has anything special that it can do, but right now it looks pretty underwhelming. And then we got the Bakatsu, which is the skeleton horse. That one was pretty cool. A lot cooler than what I thought it was gonna be from the spoilers, but still, it looks pretty dope. And then you got the sandworm from Dune itself. My personal favorite. I like Dune and the sandworm specifically. I feel like Oda definitely got the idea from that. At first, the spoilers were saying it was all yokai, but some of these I didn't find any information on yokai wise. I know a couple of them, the Gyuki and the Itsumaid are, but the rest of them I don't think they are yokais. At least from my knowledge that I could look up. So I feel like he definitely got inspired from Dune on the sandworm. So that was cool to me. Another cool moment was just the giants and them chopping off the head of Saint Jupiter. So shout out to the giants for that. Definitely stepping up as MVPs this arc. And then Zoro, his moves where he picked the sword out of the air and then picked it up, dodged Lucci, also trolled Lucci by making fun of his move and naming his a similar move just to defeat him. I didn't really see how it was any special of a move compared to some of his other moves. It literally just looked like he slashed him, but I expect the anime to kind of elaborate more on his actual move, and it should be a lot cooler. But Zoro fans should be happy they got a good Zoro moment, and then Sanji, he got taken away from by Zoro literally a couple chapters later, as well as Kizaru when he struck him with the laser again. And so that's my favorite moments of the chapter. Some of the things I have issues with, it pretty much just stems from the Gorosei. And then I'm fine if Oda would just tone it down on the Zoro versus Sanji banter. They don't always have to be fighting, especially in serious moments like this. There was no reason for Sanji to take a jab at Zoro at this moment. I guess it motivated him enough to finish the fight, but still, like, I didn't think it was needed. So I'm gonna take a little bit off of that. It's not a big issue, but I'd say it's minor. It just did rub me the wrong way. I'm like, why do we keep going back to this? Like, we don't need it as much as it's focused on. He could have used the panels for something else, to be honest. And then the Gorosei, how they just don't use their haki, and then some of them just stand there, annoys me. Like, you have all haki powers, why aren't you using them? You're trying to get Vegapunk's message stopped, and you don't stop it, plus you take damage. Like, what kind of sense does that make? I feel like he should, at least in my opinion, Oda should have wrote that a little bit better. He could have made at least he could have like kept some of the Gorosei away, and then some of them like had each one summon at a different time instead of having two of them just sitting there. The boar and Saturn just sitting there was really pointless because they're just staring blankly at Luffy, not doing anything. They could be fighting Luffy at the least, but no, it's just Jupiter is fighting. The other ones, Ethan Baron, Venus Juro, he was cool and he did a lot of work. And then Mars, I mean, he attacked the barrier, so I guess that's props. But the rest of them, it was just annoying to me that they were just standing there not doing anything, and that their haki never always works when it should work. And Jupiter should have used observation haki to predict that the Giants were going to do something. I know that Saturn doesn't want to use any haki at all, pretty much, unless he's using Conqueror's haki, and he'll just eat attacks. But I'm like, at some point, like, you want to get this done with, not stop eating attacks, use your haki, protect yourself, try to stop Luffy. And also, I know I'm going on a tangent about the Gorosei, but like, you should know that Luffy can get out of your stomach. If you've seen the Sun God Nika's attacks, you know he can come out. Like, you guys were watching the spy, the CB0 spy on Wano, and you knew exactly what's going on. You can't tell me that the guy reporting, the agent reporting, would not already have told you that Luffy can literally come out of someone's mouth, and that doesn't stop him. Why would you swallowing him as an earthworm not change the thing? He could easily come out, or he could just make a bomb in your stomach with his powers. So yeah, that was my issues with this chapter. I know I kind of went on a tangent for a long time, but I thought it had to be addressed. But all in all, I thought this was a really good chapter. I would say it's like a 9 out of 10 for me. If Oda would just stop with the Zoro versus Sanji thing, like tone it down a little bit, and then he would stop, like fix the writing with the inconsistency with the haki, I definitely think this would have been a 10 out of 10. To be honest, if I had to rank it compared to other chapters, it would be in like the 95 percentile. So like only 5% of the chapters are better than this. Maybe even less than that. Maybe it's 97 percentile. But yeah, the pacing was great. The drawing was excellent. Some of his best work. The shading was great in it. And to me, the chapter wasn't really confusing at all. Sometimes the chapters can be confusing, but this one I thought was very well. It really meshed well together. The way it was paced and the different areas it went to at the certain times, I thought it just flew really well, and it was very fluid. So that's why I stand with a 9 out of 10. I'm excited to see where we go next week. You know, we had no break next week as well, so that should be pretty dope. But I love to hear what you guys think about this chapter, and then any theories you have as well in the comments. So until next time, Peace.